In a quiet little village, a young girl planted a tiny seed in the dry, cracked earth. But that night, the seed woke up. And what grew from it was not an ordinary plant. A whisper began to rise from beneath the soil. A strange light glowed in the darkness. And when she leaned closer to listen, the voice called her name, Mina. What truly lies within this little seed of hope? Is it a miracle, or a curse that never dies? This is the story you will never forget, the little seed of hope. A tale that will make your heart tremble, until the very last moment. A small seed fell onto the dry, cracked ground. The morning sunlight touched its surface, making it shimmer faintly. A gentle breeze passed by, carrying the scent of dust and dead grass. Birdsong echoed faintly in the distance, like a fading melody of hope. A little girl named Mina knelt down, staring curiously at the seed. She picked it up gently, a bit of dust clinging to her fingertips. Her hand trembled slightly as sunlight reflected in her eyes. Her heart began to beat faster, though she did not know why. She decided to dig a small hole with an old spoon she had brought from home. The earth was dry and cracked, like a heart waiting for something to return. When she placed the seed into the hole, she felt a strange warmth. As if a tiny life was awakening beneath the surface. The first raindrop fell without warning. The smell of wet soil spread all around her. Mina lifted her face to the sky, the raindrops were cold against her cheeks. She smiled faintly, yet there was confusion in her eyes. Days passed. She came back every morning to check on the seed. There was no sign of a sprout. But the ground began to show strange marks. As if something was moving beneath it. Mina crouched down beside the small patch of earth, her knees pressing into the damp soil. The faint marks beneath the ground seemed to pulse ever so slightly, like the slow heartbeat of something alive. She leaned closer, placing her palm gently over the spot. The soil felt warmer than the rest, soft, breathing almost. She pulled her hand away quickly, her breath catching in her throat. The morning air was heavy with mist, and the sun struggled to pierce through the low, gray clouds. Mina's village lay silent behind her, its wooden houses still dark and lifeless. Only the distant bark of a dog broke the silence, echoing across the fields. Mina felt strangely alone, yet drawn to that tiny patch of earth that seemed to hum faintly under her touch. That night, she could not sleep. The sound of the rain tapping gently on the roof became a rhythm that echoed in her mind. Each drop felt like a whisper, calling her back to the place she had planted the seed. She tried to ignore it, turning over in bed, clutching her thin blanket. But the whispers grew louder, until she could almost hear words forming between the raindrops. Mina, come. Her eyes flew open. The sound was soft, almost tender, yet it seemed to come from within her own head. She sat up, her heart hammering against her chest. Outside the window, the rain had stopped, but a faint glow flickered near the edge of the field. It was pale and green, like moonlight trapped inside the earth. Barefoot, she stepped outside. The wet grass clung to her feet, and the cool air brushed her face. Each step toward the glow filled her with both dread and wonder. When she reached the spot, the soil was moving, slowly, like a living thing breathing beneath the surface. She knelt, her hands trembling. Mina, the voice came again, this time from the ground itself. Her breath froze. She pressed her ear close to the earth and heard a faint sound, a pulse, rhythmic and deep, like a beating heart buried beneath the soil. The glow grew stronger, radiating through the cracks in the ground. Her eyes widened as a tiny green shoot broke through, shimmering like glass. It was beautiful, fragile yet alive. Mina smiled, tears welling up in her eyes. But the smile faded as she noticed something strange. The shoot was growing too quickly, stretching, twisting, reaching toward her with impossible speed. Within seconds, it was taller than her hand, then her arm, then her height. The soil around it churned violently. Roots snaked out, glistening and wet, wrapping around stones and creeping toward her feet. Mina stumbled backward, falling onto the wet grass. The roots stopped just inches away, twitching slightly, like fingers reaching for warmth. She stared in shock. The plant was no longer green. Its stem darkened to a deep red, and the glow turned sickly, almost golden. Leaves unfurled like wings, but they pulsed faintly, as if filled with blood instead of sap. From within the leaves came a low hum, the same voice she had heard before, only now it sounded pained, pleading. "Do not leave me." Mina's throat went dry. She could not move, could not speak. The sound wrapped around her mind like vines. For a moment, she thought she saw faces forming in the petals, sad, hollow faces whispering her name. Then the wind shifted, carrying the smell of decay and iron. She staggered to her feet, her heart racing. Her instinct screamed for her to run, but something inside her held her in place. That same strange warmth she had felt when planting the seed now filled her chest again, only it burned. A memory flashed in her mind, her mother's voice, soft and fading, telling her to never plant anything in the old field beyond the stream. "The ground there remembers sorrow," her mother had said. But Mina had forgotten, or perhaps she had wanted to forget. The rain began again, heavier this time. Thunder rolled across the horizon, shaking the ground. The red plant swayed violently, its stem bending and twisting like a body in pain. Each flash of lightning revealed new growth, small buds forming along its stem, pulsing in rhythm with her heartbeat. Then one of the buds opened. Inside was not a flower, but an eye, round, wet, and glistening like polished stone. Mina stumbled backward, her scream lost in the storm. More buds opened, each revealing the same thing, eyes blinking, turning, focusing on her. The air felt heavy, thick with the scent of earth and something metallic. "Mina," the voices whispered, now overlapping, echoing, filling the air around her. "Stay, help us grow." She turned and ran, slipping on the wet ground. Her feet splashed through puddles as she stumbled toward home. Behind her, the whispers grew louder, carried by the wind. She dared not look back, but she could feel the light, bright and shifting, illuminating her shadow as she ran. By the time she reached her door, her breath was ragged, her hands shaking. She slammed it shut, pressing her back against the wood. Silence. The storm faded into the distance. For a long moment, there was nothing, only the sound of her heartbeat. But then, a faint tapping. Soft, deliberate, coming from the window. Tap, tap, tap. Mina turned slowly. On the other side of the glass, she saw something green pressed against it. A vine, thin and wet, sliding upward. She froze. Another vine joined it, then another, until the window was covered in a web of red and green tendrils. She could see them pulsing faintly, as if veins ran through them. Then, from between the vines, something bloomed. A single red flower, glowing softly. Her name appeared on the petals, written in veins of gold. Mina fell to her knees, trembling. Tears streamed down her face, though she did not understand why. The warmth in her chest returned, stronger now, spreading through her arms and legs. She looked down and gasped. Tiny green lines were appearing beneath her skin, crawling up her veins like roots seeking the sun. The flower outside the window swayed gently, as if smiling. "Mina," the whisper came again, softer now, almost loving. "You gave me life. Now let me give you mine." She tried to scream, but no sound came out. Her body stiffened as the warmth turned to fire. Every heartbeat sent waves of light through her veins. The vines outside pulsed in rhythm with her heart. And then, for the briefest moment, the world fell silent, utterly still. Outside, the red plant stood tall in the rain, its petals open wide. Beneath it, the ground no longer moved. The glow faded slowly, replaced by the calm of the returning dawn. But in the soil, just beneath the roots, something new began to stir. Something small, alive, and waiting. The rain eased into a soft drizzle as dawn crept over the horizon. The storm clouds drifted apart, revealing a pale morning sky that glowed faintly with the promise of light. The field where Mina had once knelt was quiet again. Only the red flower remained, still, serene, and strangely beautiful amidst the softened soil. Villagers later spoke of how the strange light had shone through the night, and how the air had smelled of wet roses and iron. When they came searching, they found no trace of the little girl. Only her small, old spoon lay near the roots, half buried in the mud. It gleamed faintly, as if holding onto a final piece of her warmth. Days turned into weeks, and the plant grew taller, its flowers multiplying, each glowing softly when the sun touched them. No one dared to cut it down. Children whispered that they could hear a voice when they stood near it, a gentle hum, like a lullaby beneath the breeze. Some said it was Mina, singing to the earth that had taken her. As seasons passed, the red flowers spread across the fields, filling the barren land with color. What was once dry and lifeless now bloomed with quiet beauty. People began to call it the Garden of Hope. They believed that whoever planted a seed there would be blessed with courage, love, or healing. And sometimes, on misty mornings, travelers swore they saw a young girl walking barefoot among the blossoms. Her face calm, her hair glistening with dew, her hands brushing gently against the petals. She never spoke, only smiled softly, as if she knew something the world had forgotten. The wind would rise for a moment, carrying the scent of rain and earth. Then her figure would fade, leaving behind the gentle rustle of leaves. And in that sound, faint but unmistakable, came her voice. Not of sorrow, but of peace. "I am still here," it whispered. "Wherever there is hope, I will bloom again."